Okay, this video is going to show you how to make your parachute for your rocket. All we have left is the nose cone, the parachute, and attaching the parachute and the nose cone to the rocket body. So what we want to do is, here's the piece of plastic. There are two templates. You can take this template out, you're going to trace it with a marker, Sharpie. And what you're going to want to do then is just take a scissors and you're going to cut out your template. Now the parachute's got to have, there's going to be 6 strings, it's a 6-sided parachute, so you want to have 6 strings attached to it. So in addition to the parachute plastic, you are going to need to have 6 strings. This is kite string, and I would cut them at about 2 feet per string. Once this is cut out, what you want to do is on each corner you're going to grab about a 1-inch piece of tape, and you're going to put the tape on the corners. And then you're going to fold them over, and what this is going to do is this is going to act as a support for the strings to go through. If you just tie the string right to the parachute, then the plastic is going to rip. So all I'm doing is folding that over so that you have 2 sides and the strings are going to go through there. Now in order to get a hole through there, there's a couple paper punches, and all you want to do is then take the paper punch, find the center of it, punch a hole, so you have a hole in the middle there. So you end up with your 6 holes. Now the reason we only have 3 strings is we're going to tie one end of the string to one hole and the other end of the string to the hole next to it. So we'll end up with 3 loops coming out of this. Okay, so there's that. Now if I take my strings, all you're going to do is tie a knot, just like tying your shoes. And so you take one end, and put it through one hole, and we're going to tie a double knot so it doesn't come loose. And at the end of it all, you want to make sure that you have, you tie off or cut any loose strings on here. So just tie the knot, tie the knot. So I got a double knot there. And so then that end of that string is going to go to the next hole over. So this is the hole, here's the beginning hole, beginning of the string, here's the end of the string, and the hole right next to it. I'm going to pull that through, and what you want to try to do is get the strings to be even so that you use the same amount of string on each side. Otherwise when your parachute opens, it's going to lean more to one side than the other. So you want to make sure, and we can adjust that a little bit later, but try to get these the same distance. So you're going to tie those strings on, so I have a loop on 2 of those, and then I'm going to get my other strings. I'll tie those on there. One end on one hole and the other end on the hole next to it. Now if you wanted to decorate your parachute, you can. Plastic and markers don't work so well, but you can put some stuff on there if you want to. But this is going to be inside the rocket, and you probably won't see it until it comes out. The biggest problem with these parachutes is that if you crumple them up and leave them in the rocket all the time, they don't work. So what you're going to want to do when you get this all done, when you store your rocket, is not to leave the parachute inside of it. So I'll show you how to fold it when we put it in, and then I'll show you how to store it so that it doesn't get all wrecked. So again, here's my last string. Last hole. So now I have 3 loops on the outside of this. Be careful at this point that you don't just start throwing this around, because the string will get all tangled and then you won't be able to figure out what string goes where, and then you're going to have to cut all your strings off and redo it all. So just leave it flat. When you get it done, you can take each end of the string, each loop, loop, and loop. If you hold those loops together like that, then I would take and tie a knot in this one end here. So get them so they're even, and then you're just going to tie that over the top. That way those strings will stay where they're supposed to stay. Okay, and then you have a parachute. Now we're going to put that off the side. Next step is to do the nose cone. There's a nose cone that's already pre-made for you. You're going to have an eye hook right here, and you're going to have an elastic string. Now this is called the shock cord, so what happens when it goes off, the rocket's going to take off and it's going to explode and pop, and this is going to come out and the parachute's going to pop out. So what I would do first here, the shock cord is to keep it from breaking. If we use this string, it would just break right off. I'm going to put the eye hook in there, and I'm going to tie one end of the shock cord to that eye hook. And I'm going to remove the excess of that with the scissors, because up in the top of the rocket we're going to have a little bit of a problem with room. Now in the bottom here there's a hole, so you just put this in here, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so we put it in and we spin it to the right. You tighten that in, and now you've got your nose cone attached to your shock cord. In order to attach it to the rocket body, we need to have this inside of here. So what I want to do is I'm going to grab this piece of paper, I'm going to fold it into thirds. 1, 2. So I have 1, 2, 3 pieces. And what I want to do with this is I'm going to take my rocket, or my shock cord, and I'm going to lay it over so that this piece is in the middle. It's over this loop here. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there. Don't need a lot. I'm going to put that shock cord in there, and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to fold it over. So I'm going to glue that shock cord in between the two pieces of paper. Then I'm going to put another little bit of glue here, and I'm going to fold the whole cord over like that, and now I've got this all sealed together. Now that won't come loose when the rocket takes off or when it pops its payload. Okay? Now the only thing we need to do then is put it inside of here, and again we're going to take glue, put a little bit on there, and what you need to do is get it down into the throat of the rocket quite a ways. So I'm going to bend it, I'm going to stick it inside of there, and I'm going to put it down as far as I can get it in there, and I'm just going to push it in there. Now I don't want to be putting anything else in here right now because my finger's sticky, because there's wet glue in there. So I've got that glued on the inside of there, and this will attach, so I'm not going to do anything to that. But what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take my parachute end, and somewhere about in the middle here, I'm going to tie that to the rocket. And then I am all done. So now my rocket's all attached. I got my nose cone, my rocket, my engine, and everything's all ready to go. As far as folding this, take the parachute by the tip, bend it down, bend it over, and then you can fold it up in those strings. And then I would leave it like that as you store it until the glue dries, and then until you launch it.